Incredibly festive on the video stream today. It's Mr. Irrelevant of Alex Strouf with you from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue of beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Producer Tiny Hands back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. That, of course, is Hunter Vaughn. No Josh DiMaggio again today, so in his place is part-time Will. That is Will Sommers. Good to have you here, Will. Thanks for stepping in for Joshy, who I believe has been diagnosed with the festival flu. After attending multiple Goose concerts last weekend. He's been down and out for 3 days. So you've been, have you skipped any classes to work this week?
No, they all got canceled because of the snow. And then, I'm not trying to call out any of my professors, but some of them just don't like having class, which I'm perfectly fine with. So then they just parlayed the snow day into another snow day or an off day. So It actually worked out perfectly.
Hey, man.
Hoping Josh gets better, though. Just want to put that out there.
Are you sure you want him to get better?
Yes, of course. Josh is my friend. I don't want him
You've
to
been
be
getting
sick.
a lot of airtime, though.
Yeah, I have.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if the festival flu was to, lean into next week a little bit, I don't think you'd be super mad about that.
I'd be willing to help out, but Josh is my friend. I hope he gets better, okay?
He is making it very clear Josh is his friend.
Yes.
Yeah, we get it. We know.
This is insane.
All right, well, Will, you've been on Mr. Relevant here and there a few times. If you could look to the screen to your right, and if you could read headline number 1 for me.
Disgusting.
Where are you looking?
Love.
Oh, yes, love. Are you referring, so what do you think love means?
I'm assuming we're talking about Valentine's Day from the look of how festive the screen is.
That's a fair point. We are going to talk about Valentine's Day. You're right. That is not about Jordan Love. I want to discuss this tweet from @WillSummers2 on Twitter. I will be deleting Instagram until Valentine's Day is over.
Yes, and I did do that. I'm not one of those people that says I'm going to do something on Twitter and then doesn't do it.
Okay.
Especially, I feel pretty strongly about this. I honestly, if you do it, I don't care. But just for me, I do not want to have Instagram on Valentine's Day. I'm tired of my Instagram being flooded with stories, posts.
So I have a thought for you.
Okay.
I think this is a great opportunity to play the field a little bit. So I don't know if I follow you on Instagram or not, to be honest with you. But you deleted it completely today.
Yes.
I am going to try to advocate for you to re-download Instagram. Here's why. Today is a day where every single person is essentially required to give a shout out to their significant other.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you've got like a couple girls that you're thinking of, like maybe I've shot my shot here before and I got declined. Today is a day where you've got to take notes of who isn't getting posted on Instagram. And that's how you know who your field is for the next year. That's how you understand, okay, she must be single, she must be single, she must be single. Those are the ones you can gun after.
This is shady and like swarmy as hell. I don't like this at all.
It's not shady. No. It's just it's being a note taker.
Yeah, and then trying to say swoop in over the next year. Don't do this, Will. Do not listen to this man at all. You do you. I love love. I'm happily married, and it's great. Like Strouf's in a relationship. That's awesome. You do you. Cool. If you don't like love right now, that's totally fine. Don't listen to Strouf.
Well, it's not that Will doesn't appreciate a good love story.
I'm just annoyed. I'm actually a huge romantic comedy movie fan. I don't know if anyone knew that about me. I love watching romantic comedy movies.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Where's that rank all time?
Just outside the top 5. I like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Sure.
That's my favorite
Great one.
McConaughey, right? Yeah.
It's McConaughey. Yes.
It's your favorite one. You tell us.
I'm just confirming, Hunter. Jeez. But I'm just annoyed. I woke up early, obviously, cool, to do the morning show.
Yep.
And I was people were already posting after midnight on their Instagram stories. And I'm an Instagram user. I don't use TikTok. I use Instagram Reels. I'm a Reels guy. And I was like, this app is just unusable today. And it bothered me for like 2 hours. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to delete it. Fix all my problems. But now I've been going to tap on Instagram, and since it's deleted on my phone, I keep accidentally hitting Facebook, and I just never use Facebook.
Hanging out with the olds.
I might need to download it again just for to get my brain rolling again.
All right. Well, I think it serves as an opportunity.
It's also tough though. Like,
can I just ask you a question? And you don't have to answer this because we are clearly on a public platform. But I do have kind of a personal question.
Okay.
Do you have any prospects? Just a simple yes or no suffices.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say
multiple or just one?
Yes, multiple.
All right, you player. So they're all single, I would imagine.
Yes.
So nobody's posting them on Instagram,
Right.
but you don't know that.
True. But I also know that, like, I know because they're in the minor league system, the prospects. So
you're 100% positive any potential prospects you have not going to get an Instagram post.
I'm sure. Yeah. I don't need to look. I don't want to look. I don't want to be on the app. It's just annoying to me. And obviously, I'm just that like disgruntled person on Valentine's Day.
You seem like you are the type of guy who this year is going to be super anti-Valentine's Day, and then next year you're going to be booed up.
Maybe.
Then you're going to be very pro. You're going to be posting nonstop.
But for the day, I am annoyed. And it's nothing against, like, I don't care if you or Hunter or anybody actually posted on Valentine's Day, but it's just annoying to me. Okay, that's just my gripe.
Okay, well,
I don't have any problem with someone doing it. I get like.
So, is it annoying the fact that everybody's bragging about being in love? Is that the thing that's annoying to you?
That's what it is.
Now, would it soften the blow at all if somebody hypothetically posted a picture of their significant other with just the caption, "Hell yeah"?
No, but I also know that you did that.
That's exactly what I did. Yes.
That kind of rules. I respect that, but it's like the sappy, like,
yeah, save that for the card,
what
man.
What a great person you are. Like, I don't need to know this. Like,
no, me and my girl, we both did hell yeah, tagged each other, one picture, that was it.
I like that. That's simple. It's like, it's not annoying to read, and it's, you know, you get in the dynamics of a relationship, it's kind of like you kind of have to do that, right? You kind of have to put something out there on Valentine's Day. It might rub, like you said, it might give people the wrong idea if you don't, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, so
just
kind of put it out there.
Got a question now, gentlemen. I have not posted anything yet. I also rarely post.
Has your wife?
On her stories, I believe, and it's just been
that's what I did.
Okay. I'm checking her Instagram right now.
So I think what you need to do then is post a story. And you are more than welcome to steal the caption, "Hell yeah," if you think it fits.
I don't know if she'd appreciate that as much. It's not really our vibe. As far as the sappy posts go, though, that's anniversary, I think. That's the only time that one's allowed. Don't do it on Valentine's.
I try not to do too much sap on the internet. Now, I feel like this dilemma should be discussed then as well. My girlfriend's birthday is tomorrow, right? So it is Valentine's Day into her birthday. So I went, and her and I did this little thing. I know a lot of couples do it, where it's like, oh, we're not going to get each other anything, right? I'm not falling for that crap. Yep, I'm not falling for that crap. So you know what I did last night? I left work, and admittedly, she works in the same building as us, so I see her during the workday occasionally. So I went over to her and I said, "Hey, I got to leave quick, but I'll be back so we can go home." She's like, "Okay, where are you going?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it." Right? So I drove over to the store. I got a dozen red roses. I got a dozen purple ombre roses. I got like a little box of chocolates. I got a card. I set it all up in the apartment. Then I came back and I was like, "All right, let's go home." She walks in. She turns around. She hits me in the arm. "You can't do that." We said we're not getting each other anything. And I said, "I'm not falling for that. I'm too old to be falling for that crap." Like, I have been in multiple relationships, where that has been brought up. Where it's like, "Hey, we're not going to do anything for Valentine's Day." I've fallen for it before. So maybe I am letting the insecurity of past relationships play into this, but I feel like that's a safe play, right? Get the flowers, make sure you're not screwing up. And, you know, that way, that way you're good to go. You know? So that's where I'm at.
And it's also, if you don't listen and you still do something, even if she doesn't do something, you kind of earn yourself those extra little points then for later on. So then, you know, you have a few too many out with the boys or something like that. There's maybe a little bit of brownie points there to lessen the blow of the anger. So I think you're still good if you just can't listen. Yeah, you get her
but I can always
something
blame it
every
on the
time.
birthday too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is for the birthday, right? This isn't for Valentine's Day because I don't want anything. If I want anything, I want like Starbursts. Like I'm a simple dude. I like my sweet candy, but I'm good without it, man. I'm good without it. Dugio on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat. I agree with Strouf. Hell yeah, is simple and to the point. Not sure what kind of vibe you're trying to put out there, Hunter. Me neither. He hasn't put out any vibe yet. We're all going to find out together. We'll report back on that. All right, that's enough love talk. Will you or will you not re-download Instagram before you having a couple beers tonight?
I don't know. I'm pretty tired. We'll see. It's a game time decision.
He's been working a lot this week.
Before 7 p.m., will Instagram be re-downloaded?
Probably just because I will get bored.
All right.
But I'm not going to click on anything anymore. I'm just going to go on Reels.
Okay. Well, let's stick with Will, but let's transition to the Packers as Will has his stat of the day. I don't know. Maybe this will become a thing. Who knows? Stat of the day on Packers tight end Tucker Kraft, Will Sommers.
Okay. In the past 10 seasons, 7 tight ends have averaged at least 14 yards per reception while catching 50 or more passes. Those tight ends being Gronk, George Kittle, Greg Olsen, Jimmy Graham, Dallas Goedert, Kyle Pitts, and the Green Bay Packers' own Tucker Kraft. Kraft, of the group, was able to accomplish this feat in the smallest amount of targets, which was 70.
And he finished with 50 catches on the dot.
Yes.
So barely snuck in there, but he got there.
An elite group of tight ends.
Who's the most surprising name on that list?
Kyle Pitts.
I thought it was Dallas Goedert, who's good.
He's sneaky good.
But, yeah, Kyle Pitts, I mean, there was high expectations, but it seems like those have gone a bit down now in Atlanta, but we'll see if he's able to rebound in 2025. The point here is Tucker Kraft should evolve into a freaking superstar, dude. Right? Like, what we saw this season was inconsistent from the Packers offense. They established a pretty good running game from Josh Jacobs. He was the MVP of this team. Jordan Love, up and down, dealt with injuries. Receivers didn't take the step they wanted to. Offensive line, good for a lot of the year, kind of fell off towards the end of the year. Tucker Kraft was the one where you go, yeah, that is the surprise of the offense. Right? Like, you expected him maybe to take a step with Luke Musgrave missing some time. But I don't know if anybody saw this step coming. And he took a big step. He was a nice target for Jordan Love. He made the most of his targets and catches. Finished with 50, led the team in receiving yards, had 7 touchdowns in the regular season. Like, he had a really nice year. The Packers have not had a bona fide, really good tight end since Jermichael Finley, and obviously that career was cut short due to that neck injury. So I guess when you hear the stat, I imagine the thought is the same for all of us, despite the fact that I'm the only Packers fan here today, Will a Bears fan, and Hunter a Cowboys fan, is it seems like Tucker Kraft is a guy who's going to need some extra emphasis in this Packers offense in 2025. He is a guy who is making the most of his opportunities, and he's still young, right? Keep in mind, this is a guy that's only going to be entering year 3 in 2025, but will have a little bit more comfortability under his belt in the system, playing a ton in 2024. He is going to learn some of the extra things he can do, whether it's, in the blocking game, in the receiving game, over the middle, does he cut outside, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Tucker Kraft to continue to grow within this role, which I think is really exciting. I think this is a guy who is poised for a huge, even bigger breakout in 2025, given his role within the offense. Now, some of the things like this will matter, right? Like, who do they bring in at wide receiver? Is it a free agent? Do they trade or re-sign Devontae Adams? Do they draft a wide receiver in a mid-round? That could be something that plays into effect here. So, while I think he is poised for a really good opportunity to continue his breakout in 2025, those factors will play into it. But clearly, this is a guy who is a gamer. He is a stud. And he is the type of guy that can really take this thing to the next level in 2025. Interesting stat dug up by Will there.
Does that stat make you think that if the Packers are able to center a game plan more around him and he can evolve into a Travis Kelce, a George Kittle type tight end, where does that put you on adding a wide receiver? Do you still need that star, or can you settle for a more average wide receiver?
Yeah, I think you could settle, but when it comes to Kraft, the guy he's compared to is George Kittle, right? Like runs through your face mask, quick, strong, athletic, kind of a lunatic in the best way. I mean that as a compliment. So he's often compared to Kittle, right? I think he's been called Baby Kittle before. You see that in his game, and you know how obviously big of a weapon George Kittle became for whether it was Jimmy Garoppolo or Brock Purdy out in San Francisco in that Kyle Shanahan-led offense. I think Kraft can evolve into that. So I don't know. I don't know if you can settle if you bring in an Adams again, right, to be your number one. Does that change Kraft's role? Maybe a teensy tiny bit, but this is a guy with 50 catches, 700 yards, and 7 touchdowns, which I think all 3 of those led the team this year. It's the opportunity is clearly there. Opportunity is clearly there. David on the YouTube chat. The GKB Award for most colorful Valentine's Day themed visual layout on YouTube goes to Alex Strouf for Mr. Irrelevant. The award goes to Hunter Vaughn. I had nothing to do with the pink and the hearts and everything going on. Hunter, you a big Valentine's Day guy? You and the wife going out for dinner tonight, or what are we doing?
No dinner tonight. We were going to go to a supper club that we found down by Milton, but due to the possibility of about 5 inches of snow over here in the Madison area, we're going to go for a Valentine's Day lunch tomorrow. But yeah, we'll go to Valentine's Day. I haven't gotten a text yet about it, so I'm getting a little nervous. She should have a surprise showing up to her office today.
Oh, wait a minute. Slow down. We are a flowers to the office type guy.
Oh, yeah, big time. Support a partner with Feelies, I believe is how you pronounce it. The flower shop here in the Madison area. Get those delivered. Do that for birthday and Valentine's Day. She's not buy
Smart
me
play.
something. She just likes to have flowers, so it's nice and easy.
I thought that counts. Nice play by you. Yeah, respect. Well, speaking of flowers, I couldn't find any. I was actually going to throw flowers at the camera, so sorry to disappoint. I want to give out some flowers to Wisconsin sports figures. I think, Valentine's Day serves as a good day to give flowers to somebody you love and tell them you love them. So I think Valentine's Day on our show can serve as a good opportunity for me to give out some flowers to people in Wisconsin sports that deserve respect and that we love. So let's give out some Wisconsin sports-themed flowers on this Valentine's Day. Flowers to Wisconsin men's basketball coach Greg Gard. What he's done with this team in 2024-25, incredibly impressive. I've said it before. I will say it time and time again as we get ready for the tournament in about 4 weeks. This is a guy who could have complained, been irritated, been upset with the stage in college athletics that we are in, with the transfer portal and with name, image, likeness. It's a guy that lost a ton of his roster from a year ago. His big returner, Stephen Crowell, John Blackwell, Max Klesmit. It's pretty much the end of the list, right? Carter Gilmore has obviously evolved into a really nice piece for them this year, but didn't play a ton last year. He saw some minutes, but he was not the threat specifically offensively that he has been this year. To take what was a good team last year, who made a nice run in the Big Ten tournament, got a high seed in the tournament, and then ultimately an upset to James Madison in the first round of the tournament. To take that team, recruit the portal, add pieces that can contribute, and turn into both one of the best three-point and free throw shooting teams in the country, and have yourself as the 16th best team in the country, deserves a ton of credit. So the first flowers are thrown at the feet of Wisconsin men's basketball head coach Greg Gard. Flower time. Oh, pump in that music, baby. Yeah. Romantic. Oh,
some Goo Goo Dolls.
Song this is. Yeah, Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. Flowers. Why are you looking at me like that?
Nothing.
Do you not know who the Goo Goo Dolls are?
No, I was actually just talking to Ashton Rotman about the Goo Goo Dolls, because Christian Yelich is a big Goo Goo Dolls fan.
Yeah, he's coming to they're playing his charity benefit.
I'm going to be at that show.
Are you?
Yeah. Anniversary with the missus, because it's literally the day after our anniversary. So, and then it's her second favorite band is the Goo Goo Dolls. So that was a layup.
Who's her first favorite band?
Jonas Brothers. She's seen him like 6 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
It's interesting top 2 bands.
It is. It is. All right, anyway.
I don't judge.
Flowers, clearly you married her. Flowers. I can't do this.
I'll give some flowers. I'll give some flowers.
Go ahead, give some flowers, Will.
Let's give some flowers to Brian Gutekunst.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you should.
Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, Edgerrin Cooper. 3 guys that made this Packers season a success overall, I'd say, with the amount of wins they had, making the playoffs. Give it to Brian Gutekunst. I know a lot of people are
now
not sure about him right now.
Are you going to serve the opportunity to rescind the flowers dependent on the first-round pick this year?
It's Valentine's Day. You can only give the flowers on one day, and then
you can't rescind them. They're going to be dead by the draft.
Yeah,
that's the point.
We got it.
All right.
Just for the day,
we'll give it
for what he's accomplished. We'll give him the flowers.
Hunter, you want to give out some flowers?
Yeah. I was going back and forth on this one, but I really feel like I got to give some flowers to just the entire Brewers front office and their ability to get Jackson Chourio and having the foresight of like, oh, this guy's legit. Let's get him out there with the team for how young he was. So whole front office and the coaching staff for the Brewers.
Yeah, give some to Pat Murphy, the NL Manager of the Year as well, right? Obviously taking over for Craig Counsell, who left and went to the city to the south. Obviously a very good manager in his own right. Pat Murphy steps in, takes over. It's like nothing changed. In fact, I think they got better. Now, heartbreaking loss in the playoffs, but Pat Murphy, obviously deserving of some flowers as well. So flowers to Pat Murphy, the Brewers front office, to Brian Gutekunst, to Greg Gard.
I do have one more.
Flowers to Giannis. I got to give flowers to Giannis, quick, Hunter.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
Without him, what are the Milwaukee Bucks? A dumpster fire is the answer. He's hold this thing together. Brings a championship in 2021. Keeps them relevant. Named player of the month in the month of January. Has kept them in the middle of the playoff race in the Eastern Conference, despite moving on from Chris Middleton, now obviously dealing with an injury. So these are both Valentine's Day flowers and get well soon flowers for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Like that.
Thank you. Hunter, who else you got?
I was going to go with the Bucks, but again, I was really happy with the front office and the way that Kyle Kuzma's been playing since he's joined the team. Helped get them that big road win before the All-Star break at Minnesota. I think he's actually going to be a very positive trade, even though people were bashing the trade and sending of Chris Middleton out of town. So I think it's going to work out, and they're actually going to win a playoff series this year, which we haven't been able to say for a while. So
it's true. Well, hopefully. I mean, got to hope they're healthy. You got to be healthy, you got to be good, you got to be lucky in the NBA postseason. Bucks certainly have not been healthy the last couple of years, but maybe this is the year that changes. So I'm with you on that. Any remaining flowers to give out?
I have some sympathy flowers.
Uh-oh. Are you giving them to Doug Gottlieb?
No, can we give some to Aaron Rodgers? The guy got cut the day before Valentine's Day.
Do you think he at all celebrates or believes in Valentine's Day? He seems like the kind of guy that's like.
But the other part of him is, though, he's probably not like a roses guy. Like he'd probably prefer like a. What are the little things you put on that are in little pots that you put on the windowsill and you don't really have to take care of?
A succulent
cactus.
Yeah, succulent. Bingo. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is probably more a succulent guy.
Dandelion.
That's not at all what I was thinking. Well,
no. Could see him liking dandelions.
Mom had a baby and her head popped off.
Sure.
What is happening?
That's what you do at the.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
The bus stop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right.
The bus stop.
That's where I did it. I don't know. It's just what came to mind.
Nostalgic.
Indeed. Right. Exactly. All right. That's us giving flowers on Valentine's Day. Really smooth, guys. That was really good by us. I do want to get into this a little bit. The Packers defense and the offense. So we've had a lot of conversation across ESPN Wisconsin and a little bit on this show about which group is more championship ready. In my eyes, it is the defense. But the offense isn't far off either. Now, we know the big needs, right? Wide receiver, edge rusher, likely cornerback, assuming the Packers make the decision to move on from Jair Alexander. It's incredibly unlikely he's back, right? Like, I heard Brad Nortman on KBN earlier this week try to make a case for Jair being back in Green Bay on a team-friendly deal and kind of a prove-it year for him. But given the contract they're in, it just makes more sense to get out post-June 1st. Now, you can designate that. That's what the Jets are doing with Aaron Rodgers, as Will mentioned. He will technically be a free agent, but it will also technically be with the Jets until June 1st. Now, if you are designated as a post-June 1st cut, for example, this is what the Packers did with Aaron Jones last year. It was March 12th or 13th, whatever day free agency opened. They signed Josh Jacobs, and then they designate Aaron Jones as a post-June 1st cut, which saves them some money. And Aaron Jones able that week then to go sign with the Minnesota Vikings, participate in the offseason program prior to June 1st and all that. So you can designate that just to save yourself some money. It's one of those tricks that you can do to balance the cap a little bit better. Now, anyway, it would make more sense for the Packers to move on from Jair Alexander post-June 1st. I think it would save them an additional $8 million. Now, the problem there is you're not able to spend that $8 million until after June 1st. So corner, edge rush, wide receiver, right? Those feel like the big issues right now. You've obviously got a hole, likely if Josh Myers is to leave, at center that maybe you fill with guys you already have on the roster, but you're going to need to add some depth then through free agency. So the question for me then is, right, what parts worry you most? Because it feels like this defense, who had a big recovery this year, was way better against the run. It seems like that linebacker crew, for as young as they are, has some superstardom potential. The safety group is the best it's been in what feels like forever. So you've got good pieces on each side of the ball. How far away are each group, though? Right, when you look at the defense, they did make a nice improvement. But if you want to be Super Bowl good, you need to continue that development, right? They are viewed as a top 10 defense. You think of, well, again, like I just mentioned, great against the run this year. I think they only allowed 3 100-yard rushers. One of them was Saquon in the opener. One of them was Jonathan Taylor in the home opener, which was week 2. I mean, you did really well against the run all year. And that's something that needs to continue into next year. Something you did not do so well with is the pass rush, getting after the opposing quarterbacks. While the sack numbers might look a little inflated because against Tennessee, they just got to Will Levis a million times. There was one other game where I think they had 7 or 8 sacks. But outside of those, struggled to get after the quarterback. Think about Jalen Hurts in the wild card game. Think about Sam Darnold in that Minnesota game towards the end of the year. You just didn't really get after the quarterback that well. That's something that's got to change. And whether that's through trade or free agency or draft or all of the above, you have to fix that. And if you do, you're that much closer to being a championship defense. The quarterback situation is the one I just can't figure out, man. Like, I'm really struggling to figure out how they're going to address that one. Because, as I mentioned, the odds are you're moving on from Jair Alexander, which leaves you with Carrington, Valentine, and Keyshawn Nixon as kind of your top 2 corners. And while that's not awful, you certainly don't want those to be your top 2 guys. Like, if they are 2 and 3, you feel much better about it. So is that you go get a DJ Reed or somebody, a nice name, in free agency? Do you draft a corner in round 1 and hope they develop very quickly into a top corner? I don't know. That's the one where I can't peg down what the right move is. And by the way, I don't think just one corner is enough to go, okay, now they're championship level, right? Like, I don't view that as the case. Now, if you invest in free agency and you draft one early, all of a sudden, okay, you've got 2 new guys in the room alongside Valentine, no pun intended, and Nixon. You feel a little bit better about that group of 4. We did the percentage game on Wednesday's show where we named a Packer or a possible Packer, and I gave a percentage as to how likely I think it is that they're back in Green Bay. Eric Stokes I put high. I brought that up with Jason Wilde yesterday on Weekly Wilde, which you can find in the Mr. Relevant podcast feed as well as at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. He thinks it's more of a situation where a change of scenery is necessary for the player. That's not to say the Packers wouldn't offer him an opportunity to come back, as he is an unrestricted free agent. But he thinks, this could be a move where he needs to go to a Denver or an Atlanta or a Carolina, right? Wherever, Miami. and just go fight for a job. Because the change of scenery is necessary for a guy who just didn't live up to the hype as a first-round pick in Green Bay, which is fair, but I still do think, number one, I don't think the market's going to be huge for him. I just don't. Like, he's a depth corner. He hasn't progressed. He hasn't become he looks nothing like a first-round pick. But as Tausch always says, I'm well doing Tausch. Seventh-round picks always have to prove they belong in the NFL. First-round picks always have to prove they don't belong in the NFL in order to lose their job. So he is one where maybe he has a small market, but I think it's likely he's back. So then that's your depth piece, and then hopefully, he can become your fourth or fifth corner on a one-year deal, and then maybe he goes elsewhere. But we will see there. Corner is the position that might scare me the most in terms of how the Packers handle that this offseason, because it feels like we are trending in a direction, at least a wide receiver, where the public pressure is on, right? It seems like all the fans want a number one receiver. I don't think it's going to be T. Higgins. I don't think it's Deebo Samuel. I don't think it's Cooper Kupp. Devontae Adams, very possible if Goody is open to that idea. Otherwise, is it a draft pick in the second or third round? I don't know that we want to run that one back. So wide receiver obviously has its worries. Edge obviously has its worries. But I think as I continue to overthink this, because it's all I think about because I'm a dork, corner is the position I'm worried about most, how the Packers handle it this offseason. Hunter, go ahead.
I mean, I just keep going back to, and I know I've brought it up a couple of times on this show, like, pass rushers will make the corners look better. And I just feel like because of how bad the pass rush was, you have to try and figure out a way to fix that. Because I just don't think the idea of, oh, well, if you upgrade at the cornerback position and you get more consistency out of that, then you just know the quarterback's going to be hanging on to the ball longer. Like, I don't think that's a guarantee in today's NFL, whereas you get pass rushers, whether it's edge or interior pass rush, you force the quarterback to have to get rid of the ball sooner, and then that makes the corners, I think, look better. So I feel like it's got to be the pass rush. Like, you fix that entire defense suddenly looks a million times better.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree, right? If you were to bring in a Myles Garrett or something, it's going to make everything else on that defense look better. It just is. But how realistic is it the Packers are to acquire a top 5 edge rusher this offseason? Now, there's plenty of names being floated, and we talked about those a ton on Wednesday. If you missed that segment, you can find it on the ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison YouTube channels, where we went through and kind of hashed through the percentage. And we talked about Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby and Myles Garrett and the actual potential of them being on the Packers roster. It doesn't feel to me like, I mean, this is no breaking news. The last trade the Packers actually acquired a player of significance was Brett Favre. And that was before I was born, right? I mean, that was the early 90s. So it just doesn't, they just don't do that. That's not their MO. That's just not something they often do. So that's the thing where, yeah, would it be nice to acquire a Max Crosby or Myles Garrett? Obviously. I think it would take this defense to a totally different level. It's just something they don't do. And I worry that will again be the case this offseason at that position. So now to Hunter's question, do you want to run back the idea of, drafting a defensive end and hoping they develop into something special in year one? I'm willing to try it. I just don't have a lot of faith in it. I mean, you drafted Lucas Van Ness now 2 years ago with the 13th overall pick. And how's that worked out for you? So, yes, I agree. DN/edge is probably the position of most necessary upgrade. But to go get a proven top 5 edge rusher in the NFL, despite the fact it's very possible this offseason, with 3 of them legitimately saying, I want out one way or another. Trey Hendrickson not necessarily saying, I want to trade, but he said, I need a contract extension. And whether that's in Cincinnati or not, I don't really care. And Crosby and Garrett both pretty darn open about the fact they want out of their respective teams in Cleveland and Las Vegas. So we will see. Chef Ed chiming in with an attempt at a poem. Let me know how this is. Roses are red. The Lions wear blue. If the Packers get Garrett, Detroit's knee-deep in the pool. Oh, in the poo, excuse me. Knee-deep in the poo.
Got him.
Art.
Art, indeed, from Chef Ed on the YouTube chat. Will, you're a Bears fan, so I would appreciate your perspective there.
Unbiased. It seems to me like the Packers have too many spots to fill, not enough time, not enough initiative, not enough draft picks to fill all of those till I can see them competing with an Eagles and with the Chiefs. I don't know. It feels like...
You sure that's unbiased?
It is. It truly is.
Completely unbiased.
I've admitted in the past when the Packers have been that team, and I'm realistic about the Bears too. I can say that all that I want about how they haven't been anything close to the Packers in the past years, but after watching these playoffs, after watching the Eagles dominate their past two playoff games, really scoring 40 and 50, they scored 50 on the dot in the NFC Championship too, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. It just feels like this Packers team, you need a elite cornerback, D lineman, receiver, and it's just, my question to you, can they win with one elite player at one of those positions? Because I don't think they're going to get all three in this offseason, right? That's just not.
So here's the thing. Would it be nice to have an elite corner, edge, and receiver? Of course. And frankly, Philly has all three of those. Or at least guys that seem like they're heading on that trajectory, right? When you look at like a Quinion Mitchell, the rookie corner, seems like he's probably going to evolve into a really good pick. And then obviously we know what they have on D-line, stud after stud after stud, and then wide receiver-wise, both Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown there. So they're in a really, really good spot at those positions in particular. Is that the reason they won the Super Bowl? Yeah, I mean, it played a role for sure. They have a good quarterback. They had a good run game. They have a good tight end. So could you win without them? I mean, yeah. I mean, I think you can win without a completely elite defensive end. I mean, does it help? Of course. Can you win without a completely elite receiver? It's the one I struggle with. Corner, I think you can win without an elite one. Yeah.
Wait, so you
Agreed.
just saw what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl, and you don't think that you should want to try and win with elite defensive line?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, because I was
I'm not
they
saying
didn't blitz at all,
it.
and they dominated that game.
They rushed 4 and they got after Mahomes. And I mean, frankly, Mahomes played one of his worst games in the postseason of his career, if not the worst game of his postseason career. I mean, he was awful. I mean, at least for Mahomes standards, he was awful on Sunday. So it's a very good point. So I'm with you on that. But we will see. But regardless, I mean, corner is the one that just keeps popping out in my head, and I don't know why. It's been bothering me the last week or so. Like, we really going to try it out Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine? Is that really what we're going to do?
CB1.
I began to think of that when the Keyshawn Nixon tweets started surfacing, and someone, I think it was on Twitter, said cornerback 1, kick returner 1, and now GM 1. I was like, wait, he's the number 1 cornerback we got right now, technically? If we're not counting Jair, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, that's how he views it. That's what he said at his season-ending press conference. He wants to be CB1, and he wants to stop returning kicks, the day after he got rocked on that opening kickoff. Now,
he was down.
Legally or illegally.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got rocked. So,
mm-hmm.
Anyway. All right, Hunter, what'd you cook up here? Is this your doing, this little date night thing we're about to play here?
Yeah, so if you've seen on the ESPN Madison Twitter, Wildy and Tausch also used it, put together a special thing for Valentine's Day. And we are going to build our perfect Wisconsin Valentine's Day. So you get $15. You have to take one thing from each of the columns of...
Oh, I do.
Yep. Venue, person, food, and drink.
I was gonna mix and match. I was gonna skip the food.
Nope, can't do that. So that's the deal, is of those 4, and I'll go through for people listening back on the audio side. For venues, going from $5 down to $1, we have Lambeau Field, AmFam Field, the UW Fieldhouse is $3, Pfizer Forum, and then Camp Randall. For people, it's Jordan Love, Giannis, Christian Yelich, Matt LaFleur, Greg Gard. Food is cheese curd, fish fry, a brat, frozen custard, and then cream puffs. And then for the drink, it is an Old Fashioned, a Bloody Mary, beer, a brandy slush, and then one of the most Wisconsin things ever, milk.
So what if I went through this and I have $2 left over?
Then you're just economical, I guess. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, could I add some frozen custard? Could I add a brandy slush?
Sure, why not?
Beers then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think we get multiple beers, right?
Oh, it's not just okay.
Okay, because initially when I saw this, I was like, all right, let's go to Lambeau. Give me Love. Give me LaFleur. That's $12, and then beer is $3. Like me, Love, and LaFleur just,
you got to eat something.
Cracking a few back at Lambeau. Yeah, you're right. It's a date. Okay. Then I think I'm going to go. We're going to go to Lambeau Field for $5. I'm going to go to Lambeau Field with the head coach Matt LaFleur for $2, so we're up to $7. I mean, I might as well just upgrade from a brat to cheese curds from 3 to 5 because I had a brat for $3. Let's go cheese curds and beer then with Matt LaFleur. I think that is the perfect way to go right there. Let's go Lambeau Field for $5, Matt LaFleur for $2, cheese curds for $5, which is $12, and then beer is $3. Nailed it.
I'm gonna go. I think you got to go AmFam Field. There's a baseball related one that lines up perfectly mathematically. The AmFam Field, Christian Yelich, brat, and beer.
Oh yeah,
does that make sense mathematically? I don't know.
9 plus 4 is 13.
Am I under 15?
You're under 15.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you get yourself some frozen custard too. Then,
who made this graphic? This is too easy.
Okay, I made the graphic.
No, it wasn't me.
All right, I think you made it too easy.
Okay, so here's the issue. So the one that I went with before we get into this, I went Camp Randall, Giannis, cheese curds, Old Fashioned. And then that's 15 on the dot. But
you could go Lambeau Field with Giannis with a brat and a beer for $15. I mean, you could go watch a Packers game with Giannis.
I'm gluten free. Brat and with the bun is way too much gluten for me. I'm allergic to beer, so I'm not going to go that route. I love Old Fashions, so of course I'm taking that one, and I'll take the little bit of gluten for the cheese curds.
So you're telling me the root of this graphic is your food allergies?
No, I'm saying my decision on it, my thought process on this graphic was, of course, Lambeau Field is the $5 one. And then I was like, you know what? Let's go Brewers at number 4. UW Fieldhouse, smaller venue, harder to get into. We're going to put that at 3 above Pfizer Forum. And then I needed another venue. Camp Randall makes the most sense. It was either that or the Kohl Center. For the people,
what's the worst one we can make by using $15?
I mean,
is it
cream puffs and milk?
Yeah, cream puff and milk for sure.
Yep.
Can we go cream puff, frozen custard, and milk?
Yeah.
I guess we have extra money.
Yeah. Just go frozen custard, cream puff, and milk. So that's only $4. We got to use up some money here. Could we throw up by eating frozen custard, a cream puff, milk, and beer? So that's $7. Oh my goodness, this sounds like a disaster. With who do we want to put through this miss? I feel like Christian Yelich would be fun to go through this with.
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
Yeah.
He'd have a good laugh here. So 4 plus 3 plus 3 is 10. So let's just do it at Lambeau Field. Cream puff, frozen custard, milk, and beer with Christian Yelich at Lambeau Field.
Might as well.
It was also like, as I'm making this with the food and drink, like, I realized that Wisconsin might have a little bit of a problem because all of the, like, drinks that the state is known for are all alcohol related. So I'm just like, well, okay, this is where we're at.
Gotta give an NA option. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was our date night.
All right, here we go. You learn something new every day. We learn something new today. It's time now for What We Learned on a Friday edition of Mr. Irrelevant. Hunter, you said before the show, I should probably come up with what we learned. Have you learned anything in the last hour?
I did. I was looking through, and then I realized that I saw that the Brewers said that Freddie Peralta will be the opening day starter for the Brewers. So pumped about that. And Brandon Woodruff, just saw it come across my phone. He is doing better than expected right now. So I'm pumped for that. This pitching staff for the Brewers is going to be ridiculous again this year, and I absolutely love it. Back end of the bullpen, a little questionable, but
yeah.
starting rotation will be great.
Woody back in action. Obviously, Peralta's back. You've got some options too, right? Like Robert Gasser did not play a lot last year prior to his injury, and he was awesome. So I'm intrigued to see what this Brewers team is.
Yeah, and I just felt like I needed to get the baseball music going on this too. I'm ready for baseball.
We're less than a month and a half away, so it is good to hear it. So I've seen this trend recently, and it's quite funny, and it is a trend in the world of college basketball. So there are obviously the internet full of troll accounts that want to get you, right? They want to get hit you with a stat. And
did you get got?
Hope you run with it. No, I didn't get got, but multiple announcers this season have gotten got when it comes to the SEC. So the SEC, dominant conference. I mean, they are phenomenal this year in college basketball. I mean, they have so many good teams in the SEC. I just want to see how many ranked teams. So they have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 8, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, number 8, number 15, number 19, number 21, and number 22. All in the SEC.
Ridiculous.
And tomorrow, by the way, a battle of the ages in regular season college basketball. Number 1, Auburn. Number 2, Alabama tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central. Could be a great game. But everybody's like, oh, everybody says the SEC is such a powerhouse. They were this and this prior to conference play beginning. And now that conference play has begun, they're 82-82.
Thank you.
No kidding. So you are telling me that there is a winner and a loser in every conference game? What a wild concept. I mean, and it has happened now multiple times on national television where announcers are like, well, they're not as good as everybody says they are. I mean, they're 82-82 since conference play began. Yeah, because every game produces a winner and a loser. So it's math is really hard. Like I'm going to be the first person to admit that. I'm by no means a mathematician. If you've listened to the show for a while, you've heard me attempt to do math and do it poorly. I'm not a math guy. Got a D in math at UW Stevens Point, the fine institution I graduated from. Not a math guy. But this one I could figure out pretty good. 82-82 in conference play means there's a winner and a loser in every game.
There was even a coach that was fooled by this, wasn't there? The Rhode Island, Archie Miller, I believe it was
correct.
Somehow talking about the SEC conference in a press conference and said, the SEC is 82-82 in conference play.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, math apparently really hard for these people.
This also tells you how good the conference actually is. That, like, this is what the internet's resorting to try and say, like, oh, see, they're not actually that good. Like, it's okay. The SEC really is actually a basketball conference this year. It's okay. It'll be okay. It'll revert back to the Big East and the Big Ten in, like, a year or two. It's okay.
It makes me happy that, by the way, like, the SEC is no longer the football conference or the basketball conference this year. Another thing that gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, Indiana's, like, really bad at basketball this year.
Yeah.
They're a football school now. Now. Indiana, like, by the way, they have a movie after Indiana basketball, Hoosiers, right? Like, I guess it's not actually about the Indiana University, regardless.
The state.
It's in the state of Indiana.
Nonetheless, a historic college basketball program.
Correct. Thank you, Will. Thank you for getting me back on track. So they're a football school now. The SEC is a basketball conference. Whatever you got. All right. Did you know what? Do you have one as well?
I do have one.
Wow. Will came prepared today.
I learned that the NHL has the best all-star break idea, and more leagues need to implement this. They just started this. I'm sure you guys have seen it on Twitter. The 4 nations face off. It's Finland, Sweden, the United States, and Canada facing off in a round-robin tournament taking place. I believe it's in Montreal, and then next week it comes to the TD Garden in Boston. Sort of like a World Baseball Classic type format. My question to you guys, how would this work out in like an NFL, since there aren't as many international players?
I have no idea how you do it in the NFL. I mean, do you break it down by region of the United States, maybe?
Yeah, I think you could. Or
like
division.
Hometown region, I think, is maybe the way you could do it.
The NBA one's a layup, right? You go world versus U.S.
Right. Yeah.
They have not tried that yet, and they need to for an All-Star game format.
They did it for like the Rising Star.
Jokic. Yeah, that's right. They did do it there, but they need to do it for the actual All-Star game, right? Luka, Jokic, Giannis, Wemby, right?
That'd be
God,
sick.
they'd be huge. I mean, that would be phenomenal, and then obviously against the stacked U.S. team, right? LeBron and Steph, etc. So, I love that idea for the NBA. It's awesome for the NHL. I'm just not a big hockey guy.
I think it's just tough with football, too, because obviously they play 18 games, and it's straining on your body. So flag football honestly makes sense for those guys to just...
the Pro Bowl, it's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, you weren't here last week when I brought up your boy Jalen Johnson, by the way. Why do you wear his jersey backwards? Is he just a look-at-me guy?
He's just like that.
He's just a look-at-me guy.
He's just like that.
You two.
He's him.
Two peas in a pod, you and Jalen Johnson.
Yeah. That's not a bad person to be in a pod with.
I don't know about that.
That's my guy.
Not a bad person to be in a pod with. Something like that. All right, we're back with you Monday. Enjoy the weekend. Good college hoops on tomorrow, by the way. Badgers go to Purdue, and then you can follow that one up with the aforementioned Alabama-Auburn game. 12-3. Good stuff. We're back with you Monday. Be safe. Have fun. Do what you got to do. Props to me, by the way. Went to a concert last night. Haven't mentioned it once.
Almost made it the whole show.
Cool.
Almost made it the whole show. Not quite, though. Thanks for Will. Thanks to Will for stepping in for Joshy. Thanks to Hunter, as always. We're back with you Monday. Continue to break down the Packers offseason. Probably talk a little college hoops on Monday. It's that time of year. We'll be less than 4 weeks away from Selection Sunday on Monday. 3 weeks and 6 days, to be exact. Can't wait, baby. Almost bracket time. We will do it again Monday right here. ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison on YouTube beginning at 12:30 Central. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Mr. Irrelevant will be the first result that pops up. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. We will talk to you Monday. Peace.